help out here. You got this. Yep.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. We are going to dive into our own essence today and really tap into our own intuitive abilities, kind of step out of our ego with Beyond the Cards, a journey to self-discovery. I believe that divination is by far one of the most powerful tools that I have ever found to heal, understand, and work with myself, kind of my therapist. And it has truly, through working with tarot and other forms of divination, they helped me save myself. And I think that it is such a powerful thing that anybody and everybody, if they're comfortable, should utilize at any means necessary. So this is going to be a really interactive class, which is why I passed out paper and stuff like that. So hello, my name is Jordan. I go by Violet, hence Violet imagery, and you can see the branding all over me. I have been reading cards for 20 years. My mom told me I asked for my first tarot deck when I was 7. And considering I did not come from a witchy household by any means, that was kind of a, why do you want this? But she supported me, as she always does, and now 20 years later, here I am. I've also read astrology for 15 years. I am a certified master hypnotist. I am a shamanic practitioner. I've created and authored multiple of my own decks and workbooks, which I very heavily do shadow work-based workbooks, because I think healing is the name of the game. Healing is the whole purpose of metaphysics at its very core. So I always try to incorporate that. And I'm also a self-development coach and healer. So thank you so much for being here. Let's jump on into it. All right, so we're gonna set a sacred space. You already possess everything that you need to know. You have all the answers. It's about trusting when you receive them, and then what you do with those answers afterwards. So we're gonna learn to trust our instincts first. I think so many people get trapped in guidebooks. And what does this person think? Well, I'm gonna Google what this number means. What does it mean to you? That's the most important part. We have all had such different life experiences. Why should we put ourselves in a box and base everything that we are learning on somebody else, right? Okay? We're also going to discover our unique interpretive voice. We all read differently. Some people use spreads, some people don't. Some people shuffle, some people don't. Some people read reversals. I don't. That was too much. I think it's a card is what it is, So, and we're also going to build unshakable confidence in our intuitive abilities. Because at the end of the day, if you can be confident with the messages that you're receiving and your portrayal of those messages, that's kind of the whole point, And we're also going to create a personal relationship with the cards. Some people don't vibe with Rider-Waite. I don't. And everybody pushes that so heavily as, start with that one, that's the classic. It's kind of old school and played out to me. So, personal opinion. And some people are more pulled toward oracle decks. So it's about trusting your vibe and what you're drawn to as well. Again, don't follow what everybody else is doing. Follow your heart. That's your spirit right there. And we're gonna leave feeling empowered and not dependent on guidebooks, okay? So today, we're all gonna say this, today we reclaim tarot as a tool for personal insight, not memorization, okay? Today we reclaim tarot as a personal tool for insight, not memorization, okay? Because that's not the point. Anybody, well, I can't memorize anything, but that's just, some people read from books their whole lives, and it's like, are you really connecting with another person or with the cards? Or you just kind of word vomiting at people. All right, so here's the problem that I see with traditional tarot learning, okay? Traditional learning creates dependency on external resources and stops the natural flow of channeled information through our own spirit. Some people listen to the suggestions of the best deck to learn with instead of trusting the decks they're called to. And what happens is you start to second guess your intuition. Oh, that's not what it said online. So? Oh, that's not what the guidebook said. Did it resonate with you? Because that's what all that really truly matters. We feel wrong for our interpretations, and that makes us lose connection to our inner wisdom. When we start trusting all of these external resources over ourselves, where did we really get? How did we really grow from these experiences? And reading just becomes mechanical instead of magical, which is what it's supposed to be, is magical, okay? So it's time to break free from the trap of memorization, because we have enough that we have to keep in our brains. Let's not add to it. So, understanding the core energy. Every card from every deck, every different illustration and artist and portrayal has a different core energy. So, the core energy is defined as the fundamental vibration or essence each card carries, not based on traditional meanings, but the energy and unique messages of each card's imagery through your own personal spiritual filter, okay? And how to access it, I always do visual impression first. What am I drawn to on that card? Okay, boom, bird. What does a bird mean to me? Do I need to spread my wings? Do I need to fly away from a situation? So look at the visual impression first, and then have an emotional response. Does this, it's like the Tower card. Everybody's always like, ooh. But I don't feel that way with the Tower. In my eyes, it's like, at least you're getting out of the terrible situation, instead of choosing to be stuck in it. And then pay attention to physical sensations. Some cards might just vibrate in your hand, or some cards might cause waves of feeling throughout your body, and those have meaning too. And then immediately, whatever word or phrase comes to mind, it should really take 3 seconds to be like, okay, first visual impression. This is what it's making me think or feel, and this is what message that I'm getting from it. Boo, boo, boo. And that's how quickly our intuition comes in. And it's right at this, normally this part right here, where we stop and say, well, what does the book say? Instead of listening to our own immediate response. Or we'll hear that response and be like, ugh, that doesn't go with the book. So I always like to say, a snake to me might not mean the same thing as a snake to you. And that would completely change the message that we both get from the same exact card, because we've all lived completely different lives. So why try to put ourselves in the same box of what everything means, And whether that is the religion you came from, the family you came from, the background you came from, even as little as childhood experiences. We're all different ages. We have all, had different come-ups in this world. So why try to read the same way that other people do, okay? All right, time for the papers, okay? We are doing an interactive, intuitive exercise, okay? So your intuition is already active right now. You don't have to do anything special. It's right here waiting for you to listen to it in every single moment of every single day, okay? So look at each card for 3 seconds. Don't overanalyze, okay? So you're gonna look at each of these cards and write down the first message that comes to your head. Don't analyze, just respond. Because these instant responses are your intuition speaking, okay? Also, share shameless plug. These are all images from the deck that I created myself called Beyond the Violet Veil. So if you like these imageries and you feel very like a good kind of connection to reading them very easily, they're available. So does anybody want to share the message that they got for this first card with the bird? Okay.
I got soaring into the unknown.
Beautiful. Love, love. Anybody else?
It's so funny, I didn't even see the bird.
No. Isn't that funny?
See?
Oh, how could I now see the bird?
Right.
But you're at too much starry night.
Okay, I love that. And that just shows what I was saying. Everybody's going to be pulled to different parts of the imagery. And you could pull the card 2 weeks from now and be called to a completely different part. Your intuition points you directly where it wants you to pay attention to. Does anybody have a message that they got for the second card?
Integrate, don't fight.
I love it.
Ooh.
With the balance, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Integrate, don't fight. Yeah, integrate. I got
balance.
pleasure bikini. Jewish tradition.
Yes, yes. Anybody else?
I got aligning with self.
Yeah, totally, with the chakras and everything like that. Awesome. All right, one more.
I got ascension.
Love.
Ooh.
Love. So this card is actually entitled Alignment. And I think in every way that word still resonates with all of those different messages. Okay? All right, how about this last card with the wolves? Because we got the wolf pack here.
Find your tribe.
Love. Yes. Yes. Awesome. Anybody else?
Howling at the moon.
Yes. Yeah. Together. This is such a card of just like, you're not alone. You don't have to do this alone. You got a whole posse here to support you in this. So these instant responses, that's your intuition speaking. And a lot of times, sometimes it might feel abstract with the messages that you get. Make it mean something. So many people get stuck in, well, I don't know. Figure it out. when you stop yourself from continuing, pushing through that uncomfortability of, I'm not sure, the answer's right on the other side. Does that make sense? When you stop yourself and say, well, I don't know what this means, look at it again. Say anything to yourself. At that point, your intuition has kind of been so blocked by that filter that we all have to use all the time to exist. Sometimes it takes a little bit of coercing to really tune in and listen to that message. And a lot of times when we're doing readings for ourselves, we have a specific question in mind. We have a specific focus, okay? And sometimes that's where it gets a little hard to give the cards meaning as well, because we're like, how does this relate to my question? That's when you gotta let yourself go a little bit outside of the box again as well, because the lovers can come up in career advice and not have anything to do with romance. So it's kind of about still allowing yourself to receive that. So we're gonna do the same thing. And people sometimes have a question in mind, and it's up to you to find the answer, okay? So when you're reading for yourself or when you're reading for other people, you're the one giving the answers. So we're gonna look at these cards, and we're gonna write down the first message that comes to mind based on the intention, career guidance. So you're sitting with your cards, and you say, okay, I need career advice. Give it to me, deck. What you got for me? And you can either do a collective response where all of these cards are given kind of like a full picture message, or you can do each card individually, or both, whatever feels right. Some people can pull one card and talk for 30 minutes. I've used a whole deck in readings. Just because for me, readings flow like a story. I don't use spreads. The card tells me where it wants to go, what card that it wants to be connected to and communicate with, because the cards are communicating with each other just as much as we're communicating with them, okay? And that's what helps kind of build that bigger picture. All right, so who did just a single message for each card? All right, go ahead. What was the first one?
First card is think about what you want to do, what's your passion.
Good. Yes.
The second card is learn to fly.
Love.
What's your passion.
Perfect.
The third card was storage, you refine your craft.
Love it. Love it. And I love it. It was very seamless because it was all about passion. So for you, that would say, my career guidance is I better be passionate about it or I'm not going to do it. You know, so always kind of look at overall themes within keywords, key elements, or like kind of key thoughts and feelings that keep coming up throughout the cards that you're pulling, you know, because that's your intuition saying, hey, you see that theme there that I laid out for you? Anybody else? Yeah.
I did it as a sentence, and I did, to get out of your comfort zone,
Okay.
be innovative, and move on to new territory.
Love. Love. Actually, I love that interpretation for like move into a different space, because like that's not how I would ever read that card.
Oh, interesting.
So that's because so in my deck, this card is actually worries.
Oh.
But that makes total sense for what you said. I'm worried about being where I'm at, but I'm seeing that there's way better places I could go. So, bam, that's what it's all about. So, anybody else?
I did a general thing, like for the first card, I was like, okay, like speak up, like
Okay.
to yourself. Like,
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to communicate, because I saw the second card as kind of the pigeon, like send it out.
Right,
Communicate with your team at work. Don't be afraid, don't hold it in,
Mhm.
and that will take you where you're supposed to go.
Love. Love.
I did a general like 3-card, like the first one, I felt like the person was like stuck between like 2 options, and just kind of feeling trapped in that like binary idea. And then the second one spoke to me of like, you know, sending out your intentions, but also like networking, communicating, like trying to get, you know, more information.
Yeah.
And then the third one is also thinking about like your legacy and your long-term vision of what you want to build overall.
Love. I love that. And so the first interpretation, this card with the head and the heart is the Chariot. Because what constant battle are we always in? Head and the heart. Because they both want something different, but it's about finding the compromise. And 30 seconds ago, my intuition said, girl, that's gonna turn off. So, and then I love the interpretation for this one because this is the Queen of Swords. And she is kind of getting that information. She's making sure that she's being direct and to the point. You know, she loves a good educated decision over here. So, can you see how differently everybody can interpret the same image? You know, and if you looked in even the guidebook for these cards, it might have stopped you from receiving the message you needed most, okay? And again, that's why in all of my guidebooks for every one of my decks, I use creative journaling and drawing prompts. So that, okay, cool, I gave you a little tidbit of like, these are some keywords that you could use for the card. However, here's some shadow work that you can do to figure it out for yourself too, okay? Because when you really connect with a deck, it will send you specific cards for specific messages. Not just in a traditional way, like reading from the guidebook, but in a, this resonates with one of your life experiences, so I'm gonna give you this card so you think about that. Because that's what this person needs to hear right now, okay? So this is gonna be intuitive question framework. So these are questions that unlock insight. When you pull a card, you want to ask yourself, what is my immediate emotional or verbal response to this card? Okay? If this card could speak, what would it say to me right now? So now you're kind of allowing the card to speak to you instead of your intuition giving you the message itself. Okay, so kind of, that might help take you out of that stuck intuitive space, because now you're saying, hey card, what do you want to say? So like sometimes that helps me get out of my head when I kind of like take myself out of it, you know? And then what story is this card telling me about my current situation? You know, if we're looking at all of the cards as like pages in a book, what chapter am I in? What kind of dilemma or achievement or, you know, battle or lesson am I facing right now, and how is this card tuning me into that, okay? How does this card's energy feel in my body, okay? I think so many times we use our intuition up here, in that mind space, in that kind of crown chakra and above. You got a bunch of other chakras that are lining up to talk to you too, okay? So different energy fluctuations in your body can also be messages. So a huge thing that I love to tell people, look into body syndrome. So if you believe that energy creates physical matter, then eventually stuck energy in our body will create a physical problem. So say your lower back hurts, you just feel unsupported, not having a strong moving foundation, you can't be flexible, right? So the lower back can really deal with a lot, and I say that because my lower back hurts all the time, financial problems, or feeling lack. You feel lack of something. So paying attention to where your body aches, related to cards or not, okay? That's just a really awesome thing that I found. And what does this card remind me of in my own life? Does it bring up certain memories? Does it bring up certain people? When I pull a person card, I'm like, who is you? Why are you here? Most of the time, it's either him or somebody from my past who's trying to like whittle their way back in, okay? So trust your gut when, and this goes when you're reading for other people too, and that's how you prove to yourself you're going beyond the book. Okay, I pull the King of Pentacles for somebody, okay? My wisdom says, okay, this is the energy of the King of Pentacles, but my intuition says that's their husband, that's their dad, that's their past uncle who died 3 years ago. You know, so that's when you start moving beyond just the energy of the cards and into the connection of what they're trying to say. And then I love this one because I thrive on kind of like simplifying things. So I love to take overly complicated topics and subjects and act like I'm explaining them to a 5-year-old. I could probably teach a 5-year-old astrology because, and I think that that's the best way to teach people as well, because it's like, one, you're connecting to that child self, that one who truly has the thirst to learn and experience and have, you know, this connection to themselves. But also, it just takes away the, ooh, that's too much. The amount of times that I've heard somebody say, ooh, astrology is too complicated, tarot's too complicated, my soul is drawn to it, but I'm stopping myself because I think it's too much, right? And that goes with wanting to learn anything. Don't ever stop yourself. Dive in. Find the most simple ways to understand the information that you're receiving. Talk to yourself like you're a 5-year-old, okay? I'm a very heavy air, so I talk too much. So it's okay to get stuck and not know an answer or receive a message right away. But always try to get your own message first before turning to a guidebook. I'm not saying guidebooks are evil, okay? I'm just saying you don't want that to be your first response to not knowing. You want to try to get it out of yourself first, okay? So let's go through these questions real quick for this card and how you're feeling. So everybody write down your immediate emotional or verbal response. And I think where a lot of people also get stuck, to me, this card looks pretty positive, right? She's chilling, she's mythical, just being a mermaid in the ocean, drinking some wine. But to somebody who might be in overworking mode or perfectionist mode, I can't lay here. I can't lay here and relax. I got stuff to do. So also sometimes pay attention to your response that does seem very opposing to the imagery as well. Because that's also a message to you of like, where's your mind a little too focused on right now, okay? What's stopping you from letting yourself relax and get in a bubble bath, all right? And then if this card could speak, what would it say to you right now, in this very moment? And then where in the story does this card fit for you? What piece of your story does this card represent? It could be past, it could be present, it can be future. And then close your eyes and feel it in your body. Just take a deep breath and say, where is this card within my body? For me, it's in the shoulders, because I'm just like, a hot bath sounds nice.
That's exactly what I had.
Just-
That's where I carry all my stress, so that's
Yes.
first place it.
And then what does this card remind you of in your own life? For me, this is always I always give the message of like, you need a vacation. And then
That's what I
some.
wrote.
Yeah. You need a vacation, and sometimes depending on what's around it, more specifically a water-related vacation, like a cruise or going to the beach and being around water. And then just in a few words, how would you explain that to a 5-year-old? And I immediately hear, you're still magical even when you're taking a break. You don't stop being magical and mythical just because you gave yourself a moment to relax, okay? So did any one of these answers kind of jump out as interesting to anybody, like just the way that you answered it?
Yeah, so for me, water is like my nourishment, my recharge, my restoration. I'm actually on vacation this week, and my way to recharge is to be in ocean water, salt water, bath water, everything, just all the water.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Love. Anybody else? Or even something that felt like, that was an interesting response. Anything like that? Because you want to pay attention to those, because I'm telling you, sometimes the weird responses of like, why did that pop in my head? There's meaning there somewhere. Okay?
When I first looked at it, I thought, she's a fish out of water.
Ooh, I love that.
Because the water's behind her.
Yeah.
Right,
But then you
right.
said like, oh, she's having a bubble bath, like she's enjoying herself. So then I thought, okay, maybe it's getting out of your zone to not do to get out of your daily stuff, to do something that relaxes you.
I love that. I love that. And again, The message I would receive would never be fish out of water, but that makes perfect sense. She's not in her element. You know, she's in a different version of her element. Love.
And I got the same thing she did. First I looked at it, it's very uncomfortable. Right?
Right.
I had the exact same thing, but I was like, okay, so then you're like, look at the picture more. I was like, okay, so what is she doing? I'm like, oh, okay, so she's like luxuriating herself. If that's
Right.
even a word. But it's like, don't just relax. It's not about just taking a break. Like I've been retired for years, I've been on a break.
Right.
It's not about that. It's about doing the things for yourself, like
Mhm.
actively doing the things, you know.
Yeah.
So get off your butt and exercise.
Yeah.
You already got the exercise. Throw them on, right? It's, you know, which I haven't done yet, by the way. You know, you got 3 choices in the cabinet. Don't pick the chips. Leave the cookies alone. You know, but it's about doing that extra thing that makes it better for you.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Because it took
nurturing.
time. It took time to set that up. She got the nice bubbles going.
Right.
She got the wine
It
ready.
didn't show up by itself.
Right. Yeah, it's the work that kind
It's
of
the work
comes.
that goes with it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I thought give yourself your own love language too.
Yes. Not everybody wants a bubble bath.
Right?
Not everybody drinks wine.
Yeah. 'Cause
You
I look
know?
at it like I always tend to make sure other people are comfortable. And it's like, do that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Make your setup beautiful. Make your
Yes.
relaxation. Like give yourself your love language as you give to others.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love. It's not doing the thing. I click the button, not do thing.
Oh.
No.
Now do all the things.
All
All or nothing.
Okay. Ding, ding. Quick shout out, I would be nowhere without this man and his support to and my business, and he has just truly been the biggest support system that helped push me. You know, I wasn't gonna sign up to be here because I was afraid to be seen and perceived, even though I'm a Leo moon. We get scared too. But, you know, make sure you find those people that push you. And if somebody doesn't support you, push yourself, okay? Just a quick little PSA. So, a huge thing is you want to move beyond right and wrong. Your interpretation is valid. Like I said, even if it seems very abstract or different than what other people are saying or feeling, that doesn't make it wrong. Because the truth is, there is no wrong interpretations, only different perspectives, okay? And you need to reframe that by letting yourself know traditional meanings are suggestions, not rules. It's not the end-all be-all. And I think too many people kind of put themselves in that box, okay? So the empowerment here is your lived experience has meaning the books can't provide. You figure these people wrote these books, some of them, you know, over 100 years ago. Like, what do you know about my life right now? Okay? And then the example is the death card might mean transformation in books, but for you today, because your interpretation and perspective can always change, and that's okay too, it could mean letting go of perfectionism, letting something in you die for the day, because it's not helping, okay? And I wanted to put this in here, because if any of you read cards and read for other people, this is annoying for me, okay? And I just want to help people feel more comfortable in this situation. You are a card reader, not a mind reader, okay? I hate when people are like, I like asking confirmation questions. So what, I'll pull a card and say, are you close with your dad? Or do you have a partner? That's always the big one. Do you have a partner right now? I don't know, you tell me. I don't know, you tell me. Because I'm trying to make sure that the immediate interpretation that I'm getting resonates with you so that we can keep things on track. okay? So it's okay to ask questions and confirm information, all right? Because the truth is, you are responsible for interpreting the cards, not knowing every detail of somebody else's life. And I think sometimes we can get stuck in that a little bit. And the reframe is, asking questions isn't cheating. It's not cheating. You're not all of a sudden unintuitive and magical because you ask somebody a question. Confirmation helps ensure that your interpretation is helpful and relevant. And the empowerment here is your value is in helping people explore possibilities and perspectives, not guessing everything perfectly. I love doing readings as a conversation with spirit involved, you know, because they're kind of giving insights and helping me bring things up that might not have come up in regular conversation, you know? But still, that confirming energy, letting me know we're on track. Or maybe I just need to rephrase this, because the message wasn't wrong, the delivery was, okay? So if you see a card suggesting a major transition, you might say, this card often speaks to big changes or the start of something new. Does that resonate with what you're experiencing right now? Or is there a particular area where you're feeling this energy? And then you'll get the confirmation, because the next couple cards that you pull will probably also resonate with their answer, okay? Because sometimes when they answer you, that also kind of adds to the cards and what you'll pull next. So the cards are helping keep things in tune with them as well. All right, so creative interpretation techniques, the more you know, the more you have to pull from. And I think that's why so many people who get into metaphysics, you don't just study one thing. It just opens up a big old rabbit hole that you get lost in for a majority of the rest of your life, okay? But the more that you know, the more that you have to pull from. So I'll give an example. This person asked me for a reading, and he was patenting something. I don't know anything about that. So all I could really do was kind of give like energy feelings of it, of just like, okay, like I feel like there's more information here that isn't being portrayed properly, okay? But he was looking for, here's specific words that have to do with patenting something. And I'm like, I don't know those words, honey. I can't just like pull them out of my butt, all right? So sometimes, yeah, but that's what they expect. They just, you know, there's a difference between being connected to spirit and having the actual like knowledge yourself to comprehend what spirit is saying, right? So love color psychology. When you really notice specific colors in cards, specific kind of layouts of the colors and how they compare and contrast with each other. And then you can work with like color correspondences, symbol dialogue, that's a huge one. A lot of us know astrology symbols, you know, so if you see an astrology symbol on a card, boom, that card makes a little more sense now, right? And I like to do, pick one of the symbols or parts of the images and have a conversation with it, you know? And then the body-mind scanning, again, where do you feel it in your body? What memories does it invoke? And then also the element connection. How does this card relate to earth, air, fire, or water energy? And then other correlations, use all of your wisdom. It doesn't even have to be metaphysical related. You know, use your experience as a parent, a friend, a mother, a partner, a human being. All of that is relevant in your reading as well as, of course, like astrology, herbology, numerology, like whatever you know, let it come out, because that's also wisdom too, okay? So here's some practical application, because I feel we want to make tarot a part of every day. Every day. So you could do a morning intention card. What do I need to embrace today? What do I need to focus on today? What do I need to avoid today? And then an evening reflection card of like, okay, what did I learn? Did I succeed in the morning intention card, or how did I get veered off track? And then, of course, decision-making polls, classic, get some information and perspective. Emotional processing. This is the one that I focus on the most. And again, that's why I focus so heavily on shadow work aspects, because I feel like emotions are the biggest thing that get away from us in this world, while also being some of the hardest things to understand and comprehend. So when you really go through the emotional processing with the cards, it can really kind of help bring you out of all this and the chaos feeling into focus and calm, okay? And then also pattern recognition. Do I keep pulling the same card? Why do I keep getting, the devil? Is it me? Is it somebody else? So pay attention to patterns. Use the cards for any reason. But the big thing, don't use the information as the end-all be-all. Use it as guidance to make your decision, okay? And then some kind of deeper practical application, using tarot as a spiritual communicator. Think of it as, it's a way that you can talk to yourself, your past loved ones, your higher self, your past self, your future self, your child self. So you can use it for shadow work, developing your spiritual gifts, because maybe tarot isn't it, but tarot can still help you get there. Okay. Inner child healing, ancestor wisdom, chakra alignment, pull a card for each chakra to kind of get a vibe check of where you're at. Astrology work. I use tarot a lot of astrology work as well. How to overcome these retrogrades. Pull a card specifically for each of the retrogrades that we're in right now and see where you're at and how you can not kind of get consumed by it. You can also do monthly or yearly guidance, which I love. Every first of the new year, I'm just each month, put it out in a little circle, take notes, and then I'll check in every month. And so far this year has been pretty on point to the notes that I've taken. So sometimes it's just awesome to be like, I got that heads up. Did I remember that or not? Mostly not, but it's nice to know I knew at some point what was gonna happen. And then dream interpretation, that's a big one too. Because a lot of people do dream interpretation by looking stuff up online. That doesn't really resonate with me either, because they're your dreams, not those people's dreams, all right? So in whatever way that you can practically use tarot in your life, that is definitely the way to do it. So, and we want to create our personal tarot language, okay? And you want to develop your unique voice. Again, we're all going to read differently. We're all going to portray things differently and give messages differently. Some people, like me, I'm blunt. I'm going to cuss. I'm going to call you out. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Your man's garbage. You shouldn't go back to him no matter how much your wounded self wants to, okay? That's another pattern reading that I always get. Not for me, for other people. I got the best. So you wanna keep a personal symbol dictionary, and this isn't just good for tarot. This is good for developing your mediumship and any other forms of intuition, because most of the time, spirit doesn't talk in words. Most of the time it's like, I saw a bird, I saw a girl in a blue dress, I saw a wave of the ocean crashing on the beach. Most of the time it's not just, hey, point blank, here's a past loved one trying to come into your life. And then you wanna integrate what the cards are telling you into your life, as well as integrate your life into the cards. And then look at your cultural connections as well. I was not raised religious at all. I had no religion pushed on me as a child, which is probably what made me feel so safe just jumping right on into witchcraft. But look, sometimes those can be helpful or they can be blocking. You know, how you were raised and nurtured. But that also is going to make you interpret things very differently in imagery, okay? Give your cards nicknames. Give them nicknames, make it fun, you know? Or like specific phrases as well. So I always say, for my Chariot card, it's the battle between the head and heart. Point blank, if somebody's having a battle between the head and the heart, that's the card my deck's gonna give me, okay? And then signature spreads. If you like spreads, make your own. Make your own. Make this experience whatever feels good for you, okay? And then when your intuition feels blocked, because it happens, you know, it happens all the time. Life can get crazy, and it can get in the way. So we want to navigate challenges in intuitive reading by kind of decreasing our mental chatter, so you can use grounding techniques. We want to stop comparing ourselves. We want to stop comparing ourselves to who we used to be, to who we want to be, to other people, to other situations and experiences. The only thing that we need to do is compare ourselves to ourselves right here in this moment. Okay? Perfectionism, it takes time to fully embrace and practice your intuition. Okay? And sometimes you do kind of just get stuck in that like, I don't know. That doesn't make you a bad reader. That is a momentary lapse of connection, and it'll come back, okay? External validation. Sometimes we're harshest on ourselves, okay? Me, for sure. There are so many times that people come get a reading with me, and they stone face, those stone facers, just blank. And they walk away and I'm just like, oh my God, that was the worst reading ever. And then at one point they come back and they're like, I just told all my friends how amazing and incredible that was. And like, wow, from your face, I would have never known. So sometimes you gotta trust what other people are telling you with their experience with you, more than that kind of like ego critic version of yourself. Energetic clearing, clear your cards, clear your space, especially when I'm terrible at this. Just, I'll point blank say, I really don't clear my cards or my space that often. But when I start to notice more of the intuition blocks, that's when I'm kind of like, okay, we gotta clear it out. So I don't do it every time. I more do it when I'm starting to notice like, all right, it's getting a little clogged in here, okay? And then self-compassion. Love yourself, be kind to yourself. This is a process. You are a spirit in a human experience, and sometimes that's whack. But love yourself through that experience, and that will help ease your blockages as well. Okay, so when reading other people, and I just want to throw this out there, I know this is a self-discovery thing, but I always feel like eventually tarot leads to reading other people. We can only read ourselves so much. So some people are just not open to the experience. They're not. That doesn't mean the messages that you're giving are bad or wrong. It means that they're not ready to receive it, okay? So I just want you to keep in mind that other people might have internal resistances that are stopping them from actually listening to what you're saying. Sometimes this person can also be you. How many times have we pulled a card and been like, I'm just gonna put that back. Okay. I'm not ready to deal with that right now. Or do the old reshuffle and it comes out again. And it's like, no, can't get away from it. But sometimes this can be you. So pay attention. Look out for people or yourself when you won't answer a confirmation question. You know, even as simple as, how do I really feel about the situation or this person? Look out for body language. Sometimes their friend in the background is saying, wow, when they might just be, dead facing you, all right? And regardless of how any reading goes, remember the messages were given to you in some way. They were meant to be heard. I can't express the amount of times I'm given readings that are very clearly about me as well. You know, so you'll really notice, like, and then there's other times I've been reading somebody, they won't resonate, but then somebody 2 tables over from me is just like, I think that was for me. Sometimes spirit knows the person in front of you isn't open, but the person over there wasn't gonna come over, and they need to hear this anyway. So pay attention to how spirit works. And you are a channel of the divine, no matter what. No matter what, whether you feel you're connected or not in that very moment, you still are. So the time has come for my continued shameless self-promotion. These are the decks that I've created myself. So I have 3 oracle decks. One is called Be a House. And it's all based on shadow work and making your house a home. You're the house, okay? You don't just move out when you have a leaky faucet, all right? You fix it. And then I have Circles of Wisdom. I love this one, super direct, to the point, easy message, okay? And then this one is actually an educational deck that I specifically created to teach people astrology. So if you are not currently and want to be an astrology baddie, that's the deck. Because it breaks down the signs, the planets, and the houses, and then when you look up your chart, you can go, wow, Libra, Sun, 9th house. That's what that means. So, and then this is my tarot deck, which you saw some of the images already, but I have the original and the remaster. And so you can find that on violetimagery.com. And then also, I write books. I write so many books. One of my favorite of all times is the chakra healing book, because it's all activities that you can do to work on your chakras and kind of check in with yourself and do everything like that. And then I have these coming soon. One is a Saturn of No Return poetry book I wrote myself. And I'm thinking of publishing it with my dear friend's publishing company. And then another one, I'm excited about this one, it's deep developmental trauma. So it's like legit looking into the psychology of how our brain and our psychological self develops as we grow, where you might run into wounds in those specific ages and developmental stages, and kind of how you can understand, like, wow, that's why I always feel rejected, because when I was so-and-so age, I felt rejected by that one parental, and now I think everybody hates me. It's that kind of stuff, so that you can dig deep into those developmental traumas that have been sitting in us for decades. So all of my books are available on Amazon, but they also, I have them as well. So take a picture of this, use this code for a discount on any of my services. This is the same code that came in your goodie bag, so you can use it again, and I'm pretty sure it was for 10%, something like that. But follow me on my social medias to stay up to date on all the amazing things that I constantly do.